Let's see, 3 words to describe this week: inexpensive, exhausting, fun. Greetings, one and all, and welcome once again to Tom's Hit Parade. By the way, I invite you to hit that subscribe button, give me a thumbs up if you like what you see, share this video with your friends, and leave me your thoughts down in the comment section. That would be stupendous. So yes, as you could tell by the title of this video, and probably by the thumbnail as well, I went on a little thrift store haul this week, actually a pretty big thrift store haul this week. Um, I had an unexpected or unplanned week off from work this week. It was a good thing, don't worry. Yes, the job I'm at has you accumulate vacation hours every month, but there's a ceiling that where you get to a point, you build up enough hours, you have to use them or lose them. And so I was at the use them or lose them stage. And ironically, this was right after I took 2.5 weeks off to take care of my mother again. She had a minor setback with her, well, not quite minor, setback with her hip replacement. Don't worry, she's doing just fine now. But yes, I did have to take a little time off to care for her. And I wasn't sure if I needed to take one more week. And my boss informed me I'm at my vacation cap. So he said, why don't you go ahead and take a week's vacation? It's like, gee, twist my arm, why don't you? Anyway, so yes, I had a week off. And after the stress, still relatively low stress, but still stress of taking care of my mom, I decided it was time. Well, we both decided, my mother and I both decided it was a little time to have some me time, some fun time this week. So I spent Tuesday and Thursday, today is Friday as I'm recording this, plundering the St. Vinnie's and Goodwill thrift stores in the Eugene Springfield area. I managed to hit all 4 Goodwills and 6 out of the 7 St. Vinnie's. So yes, I came this close to being able to say I hit all the St. Vinnie's. But the one I missed is the one with the smallest CD section, thank goodness. Less than half the time I go in there do I find anything. They have maybe 100 CDs. So yeah, it's no big shakes to miss that one. So but yes, I found quite a bit of stuff here. It's the first time I hit the Goodwill stores in, I think, a year. I think it was right about the time that I replaced my computer and rebuilt my video editing scheme, was when I did my first circuit of all the Goodwills. So yeah, it's been a while, and I think I need to visit the Goodwills more often because I found a bunch of stuff. I think I actually did better store for store. I did better at the Goodwills than I did at the St. Vinnie's. So that tells you something. And I've heard that I hear a lot of people say, people who do thrifting on YouTube and stuff, thrift for CDs. They say they don't do very well at the Goodwill stores or other thrift stores. And I wouldn't be surprised if more than half of the people who do that thrift in order to resell or flip CDs. I, on the other hand, I just I thrift for pleasure, for stuff that I want to listen to. There's very rare exception, and actually there is one in this lot, and we're talking one out of every 150, 200 CDs that I buy at thrift stores do I buy with the intention of flipping. So I'm not a characteristic flipper. But yes, I buy stuff for my own listening, and I have a pretty broad listening or musical taste. I like to put my feelers out almost constantly. Am I putting out feelers for stuff that looks like it might be something I'm into? So yeah, I do have better luck than other people at thrifting, but only because I'm not out there to. I mean, obviously, when you go to a thrift store, all the good stuff and especially the good stuff that's in really good condition is taken. You have to be really quick to get the good stuff, to the flip worthy stuff. So and yeah, so anyway, uh, enough with that tangent. I could go off on a whole other tangent about flippers or resellers that I'm. Let's suffice to say I'm not crazy about those people. But anyway, yes, as somebody who primarily goes to thrift stores to get stuff for myself, I'm not crazy about flippers. But anyway, enough of that. Yes, I have actually 21 CDs from Goodwill and 21 CDs from the St. Vinnie's that I went to. So this video will be divided into 2 or 4 sections, as you'll see by the little scrubber line there at the bottom, and the chapter definitions in the description down below. So let's go ahead and get on started with the my St. Vinnie's finds. First of all, I found several two-disc greatest hits collections. Some I haven't had before. Some I am replacing one-disc versions with these two-disc ones, and some that I used to have but got rid of. And that's not an unusual story with me. But anyway, first one here, Foreigner, the definitive collection. Oh, it's, yeah, they usually, this definitive collection series, they usually have the genre after the word definitive in the subtitle. But this one just says the definitive collection. But then we all know Foreigner is a classic rock band. And yep, two discs, as with all of the definitive collection volumes. I've got 5 or 6 of them already. And so it was fun to add this one to the mix. And I thought I had a Foreigner compilation, but I apparently I didn't. I must have gotten rid of it a while ago, the one that I had. So yeah, very nice to find that one. And then here's one that I used to have, got rid of it in a downsizing, but I decided I'm going to go ahead and pick it up because I like this guy's stuff. I have all this guy's stuff that I really need on vinyl, but it's nice to have kind of a career-wide, at least to this point, collection of their hits. Bryan Adams anthology, and yes, you've probably seen this one in the stores. It's got 2 discs full of all of his hits and stuff, all the way up to 2005. So yeah, very cool to get that one. And yes, as you know, or as you might not know, all CDs at St. Vinnie's are 99 cents each. Although, except the Foreigner one was actually in their premium picks case. It was $2.99, but still, discs were in spotless condition, so it was definitely a bargain at that price. Next one, here we have Mariah Carey rarities. I'm not a huge Mariah Carey fan, but still, I like her stuff. And that's weird. The brightness is self-adjusting on this tablet. I haven't figured out if there's a way to override that. So sorry about the balance and or the light and the occasional hue shifting that might happen. My tablet does it automatically. Anyway, not the biggest Mariah Carey fan, but I figured, for 99 cents, picking up a disc of B-sides as well as as a CD of Live at the Tokyo Dome in 1996, a rarities collection, and a concert album all in one package. So yeah, thought that was nice to have. Then this one I almost missed. I went over the shelves. Actually, might have gone over the shelves twice, and then one last time I went over the shelves and saw this, so I decided I had to get it. Al Green, the absolute best. Yes, I have his one disc, his classic greatest hits album, the one disc version. Well, that one has bonus tracks on it. I do need to see to make sure that all the tracks I really want from that one are on this one. But yes, if that is the case, I will be replacing that one with this one. So, and yeah, Al Green is just a great classic soul, and at some point he went gospel with his stuff. So, not that there's anything wrong with that, but anyway, yeah, I figured it was definitely worth the money to grab this baby. Almost missed it. And then I found a couple of James Taylor CDs. I'm not really actively out to collect all of James Taylor's stuff. There's a lot of his stuff to collect, but I've decided, maybe I'll bit by bit, if I'm in the mood, if I see one at a thrift store for a good price and it's one that I might want to listen to, I'll go ahead and grab it. We have That's Why I'm Here, and this is actually the remastered version. So yeah, it's one of his earlier albums, I believe, 1985. So not too bad. And then October Road, which is one of his more recent ones. And yes, I have not recased any of these CDs yet, so yes, this one's kind of busted up. But yeah, I figure it was nice to have that. And here's one that I was kind of happy to find. The Pretenders, Learning to Crawl. Yeah, 99 cents, and the disc is in perfect condition. But yes, I don't think I have ever had any Pretenders albums before, so it was nice to have this one. I'm an 80s kid, so I remember the single Back on the Chain Gang was all over the radio back then, so figured I had to pick this one up, give it a shot. And yes, the case has a big owie on it, so yeah, I gotta I spent a while recasing all of these CDs, well, most of them. And then almost completing my Phil Collins solo collection. Picked up both sides. I think I'm missing one or two of his latest albums, his most recent albums. But yeah, here's nice to pick that one up. Now here is a local artist. This is an a cappella group that I don't know if they still do this, but for a long time at the University of Oregon, this group would have a free concert Friday afternoons at 5 o'clock, I think it was, in the little rotunda, the little amphitheater by the Student Union. And they were a lot of fun, and they had videos on their YouTube channel back when YouTube was kind of first getting going, because they started back in the early 2000s, late 90s, and I had four of their albums, and I found a fifth one that I hadn't had yet, and it is called A Fifth. Almost all their album titles have to do with drinking, and their name is on the rocks, so it kind of goes together. But yes, a cappella renditions of popular songs, and I think on every album they try to squeeze in one or two original compositions as well. So, but yes, Bad Romance by Lady Gaga is on here, and Helplessly Hoping, which I can't remember who it was. Listen to the Music by the Doobie Brothers is on here, and I kind of wish that they had picked this title for the album, Red Romance. I like that. I don't know, that's probably something that's been gone around the internet for years, and I just hadn't heard it before. But I like Rad Romance. Anyway, on to the next one. Here's another local artist, or at least Oregon artist, Curtis Salgado. I've heard of him for years, never tried out his stuff. I believe it is blues, primarily blues, maybe a little bit of soul, but this is his very first album, Curtis Salgado and the Stilettos. So I figured it was time to go ahead and give him a try. Um, for some reason, I like to try artists out with their first album more often than with any other of their albums. I don't know why. Then here is a compilation. This might be actually the only compilation that I picked up. It just looked interesting. Um, Unexpected Dreams, Songs from the Stars. And as the title implies, these are songs sung by actors and other celebrities. So yes, you can get a quick glimpse of the artists involved here. We've got Scarlett Johansson, Ewan McGregor, Taraji P. Henson, Jeremy Irons, John Stamos, Lucy Lawless, Eric McCormack, Victor Garber, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Terry Hatcher. It looked interesting, and sometimes actors, just you wouldn't think they have great singing voices, but sometimes actors turn out to have some of the best singing voices you could ever imagine. So I thought it would be fun to give that one a shot. And then this one, I saw a piece on this guy on CBS Sunday Morning just this past week, Michael Feinstein. And so I decided to pick up an album. This is nice work if you can get it. Songs by the Gershwins. So, and actually, the title track is one of my favorite Gershwin songs. So, yeah, I thought I'd pick that up. I have tried Michael Feinstein before. His voice just did not seem to have a whole lot of personality for me. That was a while ago. So, and now having seen that interview with him and seeing how much respect and admiration and appreciation he has for the Great American Songbook and for popular music in general, I thought I'd give him another try. Let me take a quick drink here. I think I'm about halfway through the St. Vinnie section here. Next one we have is by an artist I am a fan of, have been a fan of for a while, Angelique Kidjo. This is her album, Black Ivory Soul. I have her greatest hits album. This is the first album that she put out after that greatest hits album, so I figured I'd give her a try. And this one was still sealed. So. And there's another one that was still sealed. Oh, actually, I didn't show you the back of it, I don't think. So there's Angelique Kidjo. One of my favorite Afro-pop voices. I really, really like her. And then we have a CD by, is he Cuban? I can't remember. Trumpet player Arturo Sandoval. I think I have one other CD of his from earlier in his career, but this one is Trumpet Evolution. And as you'll see on the back, he covers hits made famous by other musicians, primarily classic trumpet players. And so he has a nice long track listing here. And so, yeah. When It's Sleepy Time Down South, in tribute to Louis Armstrong. Let's see. Little Jazz in tribute to Roy Eldridge. Manteca in tribute to Dizzy Gillespie. The list goes on. So I figured that would be fun to listen to. And again, still sealed. So very, very cool to have that. We have a soundtrack. Oh, actually, it's misplaced. I wanted to put it next to another soundtrack. So kind of flowing by genre, but not really. Anyway, I think I might have had this one before and gotten rid of it. I don't know why I would have, though. But the Mills Brothers, this is a 20th Century Masters Millennium Collection, obviously. This is a pop or doo-wop group from the 1940s, I think, from way back in the early days of recorded popular music. So, yes, Paper Doll, Lazy River, You Always Hurt the One You Love. That was one of their bigger hits. Glowworm, Be My Life's Companion, Across the Alley from the Alamo. So, yeah, figured I had to give this one a shot or another shot. I can't remember, as I said, if I had it before or not. Then we have a CD by an artist that I've got 3 or 4 of her CDs. Actually, she's right over my shoulder here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 CDs, I think. Kristen Chenoweth. This is a live album, Coming Home. And I think I actually might have the DVD of this. But hey, why not pick up the CD as well, especially when it's 99 cents? So yes, she's lots of fun. She's not my favorite female singing voice. It's a little bit of a slightly sharp timbre that detracts a little bit from my being able to like it as much as I would. But still, she sings very well. It's just that little thing about her voice. Maybe as I listen to her more, maybe it will. I'll become accustomed to it. I don't know. Anyway, next one up is Herbie Hancock, Gershwin's World, another Gershwin CD. I've got, and I don't think this is the last one either. I think I've got a few Gershwins in my haul this time. But yes, the inimitable Herbie Hancock puts his stamp on an array of Gershwin songs. I can only imagine how good this is going to be. I mean, it's Herbie Hancock. Mind you, I just got home with these CDs last night, so I haven't listed any of these yet. But yeah. I'd seen this at a couple other places for higher prices, and guess turns out there was a reason I held off on buying it. Then this one looked interesting. I don't think I've ever heard of this artist before. CDs are flopping around in the rack. But I figured I'd go ahead and get it because he is on a label that I really like, GRP Records. It's a jazz label. Eddie Daniels. He is a clarinet player. And this is his album Breakthrough. I believe this is his first album with the Philharmonia Orchestra. And got a little bit of a sentimental attachment to this. When I was in grade school, I took clarinet lessons for maybe 1 year, or it might have been a half a year, and so that's my experience. The extent of my experience in actually playing music is I took accordion lessons for clarinet lessons for about a half a year. So in a way, I kind of have a soft spot for clarinet, although I don't have a whole lot of it in my collection. Now we're getting to a couple of soundtracks here. Chariots of Fire by Vangelis. Is it Vangelis or Vangelis? I've heard it pronounced both ways. I need to look up and see which one is correct. But anyway, the classic soundtrack. Never owned it before. I own a CD of Vangelis themes, which of course has Chariots of Fire on it. But yeah, figured it was high time, being that I'm getting back into soundtracks again. Figured I ought to pick it up. So yeah, good thing there. And another soundtrack that I kind of like this guy's stuff. He's not one of my favorite composers, but I have begun to like his stuff a little bit more and a little bit more. John Barry did the score for a Chaplin biopic, Charlie Chaplin biopic from the mid 90s, 1992 actually. It starred Robert Downey Jr. as Charlie Chaplin, and so yeah. So yes, I've got Out of Africa, Somewhere in Time, Dances with Wolves, and I think this is just the fourth John Barry score. Oh no, The Black Hole, a favorite sci-fi movie of my childhood. That was the first John Barry score that I owned, was The Black Hole. So yeah, I figured would be quite decent to add that one to my collection. And then the next in I think I've mentioned in my recent haul videos that I basically started picking up CDs from the Narada New Age label as I'm seeing them, the ones that I don't have yet, obviously. And so continuing on that track, we have Christopher's Dream by David Lanz. He's a piano player. And so I've actually picked up a few of David Lanz's albums just recently. Actually, I think there's another one in this haul. There is, which you'll see in just a few seconds. So yeah, nice to have to add one more classic CD to my Narada collection. And then this was probably the biggest coup in my St. Vinnie's acquisitions, a 3-disc set of Ella Fitzgerald singing the George and Ira Gershwin songbook. 3 CDs, all of them in spotless condition, for 99 cents. How can you go wrong with that? So yeah, I've picked up a bucket load of Gershwin on this St. Vinnie's or this thrift store haul. So yeah, I figured I couldn't pass this one up. Not the biggest Ella fan or the biggest Gershwin fan, but you know, you got to add that one to your library, right? So anyway, that takes care of the St. Vinnie's portion of my haul. Let's go ahead and dig right into the Goodwill portion. And speaking of Ella Fitzgerald, the Johnny Mercer songbook. So yeah, pick that one up. Most of Goodwill CDs are $1.99, but if you get there, they're almost always having specials on the different color codes of their price tags. They have green, red, yellow, probably blue, pink. I've actually got one with a pink price tag. So yes, most of them I got for $1.99. Sometimes some of them I got for half off or even 75% off. So there we go. Now you can see it. White on light blue. Very helpful. Easy to read. But yeah, Ella. You can't go wrong with Ella. And then I mentioned David Lanz a moment ago. Here we have Nightfall. I picked that up at the Goodwill. So yeah, I may within a couple of years or so I may have a pretty darn respectable Narada CD library. And then we're getting into a couple of soundtracks I found. This one I think I had a long time ago. It's called Inventions from the Blue Line, and it is by Mike Post. Now, for those of you who may not know, and especially younger viewers, for whom television, TV series theme songs are kind of a thing of the past, Mike Post was kind of like the Beatles of television themes. He did, the themes for most TV shows that were on at a certain point in time, 70s and 80s. And so, yeah, he did so many television themes, and he put out a couple of albums, a few albums that played his TV themes and variations on them and riffs on them and so forth. Like this one has the theme from NYPD Blue, the themes from Law and Order and Silk Stockings. That was a less popular show that he did the theme for. But yeah, I've got another one that has I can't remember what themes are on that one, but LA Law was one that his other CD that I have is themes from LA Law and Otherwise. So yeah, Mike Post was the TV theme guy that you would go to in the 80s, 70s, and 80s if you needed a snappy theme for a TV show. Next one. Now, I mentioned at the beginning of this video, that I don't like flippers or resellers, but this one I had to make an exception. And I mentioned that one CD out of every 100, actually it's probably more like one out of every 200, I might buy to flip. Now, this one I picked up, I actually bought off of eBay last month and spent about $20 on, $20 including shipping. And then yesterday I see it at a Goodwill for $2.99. Ready Player One, the score by Alan Silvestri. So I decided to go ahead and pick it up, and I'm going to check it out on Discogs. I actually haven't yet, to see what it might be going for on Discogs. And I believe, yeah, this one was on special, so I got it for $1.50, I think. So, yeah, which makes it even sweeter. So yes, I think I am going to put this on and on Discogs and see how much I can get for it. I'm thinking maybe $10. So it's not going to be a huge amount, but still, I kind of couldn't resist the idea of flipping that CD. And yes, kind of ironic, especially I think I'm justified in a way of doing that because I had just spent $20 on it on eBay. So revenge. Anyway, continuing with a couple of other soundtracks that I found, continuing to build my James Horner library with Legends of the Fall. Yeah, nice little soundtrack there. And this one, wouldn't have bought it if I weren't getting back into soundtracks like I am. Basic Instinct, the soundtrack by Jerry Goldsmith. And yes, this used to belong to Susan Nelson. Thank you, Susan, for donating it, even though I'm sure you won't see this video. Anyway, so yeah. It's that famous movie with that famous scene, which I've actually never seen the movie, actually. Don't know how I avoided seeing the movie for this long. Just kind of the subject matter is just kind of not really my thing. This next one, though, I literally, yeah, the Ready Player one and this one, I literally could not believe. I was standing there in the store, seeing it on the racks at Goodwill, not believing that I found it there. Raiders of the Lost Ark. This is the original CD issue of Raiders of the Lost Ark from the early 80s. And what's kind of cool about this one is it doesn't have the track listing on the back. It has the film credits. So, but yes, you can kind of see the track listing on the CD itself. Pardon the glare and the reflection, but yes, this is the original issue. CD was in fantastic condition, and normally I do not buy older versions of soundtrack CDs that I have newer versions of, but I decided, I'm actually keeping two different versions, newer versions of Raiders of the Lost Ark, so I figured, why not buy this one, and I will have a legitimate collection of the history of the Raiders of the Lost Ark soundtrack on CD. And I have the original one on vinyl, too. Anyway, but plus, I mean, besides, $1.99, and I think this was also on special, so I got it for even less than that. I think I got it for $1. So yeah, this is what I mean when I said I had better look at the Goodwills than I had at the St. Vinnie's. Now this one I had picked up at a St. Vinnie's before, and I always check the CDs to make sure they're in good condition. This one somehow I forgot to check, and one of the discs was really badly scratched up. But it is a spoken word CD called Crime Busters and Crossed Wires, Stories from This American Life. And I guess, This American Life is a radio show on NPR, I think. And so it's got a bunch of stories and little vignettes and stuff from the history from throughout episodes of the show. And yes, one disc was fine in the set that I bought earlier, but the second disc was all scratched up. Both discs on this set are in good condition, so decided to pick it up and listen to it. I actually had never hadn't bothered listening to it yet, and was kind of so disappointed at the condition of the CD and in myself for not checking the condition of the CD that I just kind of chucked it into the donations pile. So I do that sometimes, I know. Anyway, next one I have here is The Best of the Canadian Brass, and I've got at least one other Canadian Brass compilation. I think that one is The Essential Canadian Brass. But yeah, I like their little small combo take on classical music sometimes. So I figured, why not add another compilation of the Canadian Brass to my collection? And they're a Canadian artist, which I kind of have an affinity for. Then we have a jazz pianist that I have heard of before but never picked up any of his stuff, Taylor Eigsty. And this was his first album on the Concord label, Lucky to Be Me. And just looked interesting. And, True Colors, I would assume that is the cover of the Cyndi Lauper hit. But anyway, and Love for Sale, the classic pop standard. And this one, my long-term viewers might remember my Tom's A to Z that I did a few years ago. I bought a bunch of dollar LPs, one by an artist from each letter of the alphabet and went through them over the course of the year. The C artist in that collection was an artist named Terry Lynn Carrington, and I believe she was a percussionist or drummer. I can't remember, but yeah, I liked her stuff, and so here I found a much more recent album by her, Mosaic, and decided to pick it up and give it a shot. So, yeah, it's got actually mostly songs written by her, and yes, it's kind of unusual to see a woman of color in the jazz world, who is not a vocalist primarily. So yeah, I believe she was a drummer, if I remember correctly. Anyway, yes, looking forward to trying that one out. And this one, I just decided to give it a shot. I've tried his stuff before, never really been much into it. Marty Robbins. This is A Lifetime of Song. I guess he chose songs from a span of years. You can see the years after the songs here. So yes, bunch of songs that I guess are his favorites from those years. So, or ones that inspired him, perhaps. But yeah, not the biggest country fan, not the biggest Marty Robbins fan, but I figured give it a shot. And speaking of country, the best of Billy Ray Cyrus. Couldn't resist. I've got 4, or is it now 5 Miley Cyrus albums, so I figured I have to give her dad some representation in my collection as well. And yes, this CD was really, and actually, you can see a little bit of on the back cover too. Very, very dusty. Like there was a bunch of like sawdust or something in here. So I can only imagine that some guy kept this in his garage or his workshop, and it kind of got dusty and stuff. But I was able to clean the CD. Yeah, actually, the surface of the CD also had some dust on it, but I was able to um, a eyeglass cleaner, laser lens cleaner, the spray bottles of that, and a microfiber cloth. Use that, and it doesn't harm the CDs, and it gets the CDs nice and clean. So, little household hint for cleaning CDs. But anyway, yeah. And then I have a CD by Cher. This is It's a Man's World. I don't think I'd ever seen this album out in the wild before. I may have it. I just may have just not been paying attention. But yes, it's got a cover of the James Brown hit, the title track. It's a Man's World. Let's see. Not Enough Love in the World, which I believe was it an Eagles song or a song by an Eagles solo member? I can't remember. Walking in Memphis, and The Sun Ain't Gonna Shine Anymore, and a couple of other covers, but I think she's also got some original songs in it as well. So, yeah. Can't be afraid to give another Cher album a try. And here's an album by an artist I have one album by until now. This is the second one that I've gotten of theirs. It's a band called Dada. It's a rock band, and this is their album Puzzle. I've got their self-titled album, and I really enjoy that one, so I decided to give this one a shot. I think the most popular song on this album is Disneyland, but it is spelled, as you can see, track 4 here, probably to avoid copyright infringement, I would imagine. So yeah, good stuff here. Now here's an artist I had never heard of before, but as you can see by the little red maple leaf on the front, is a Canadian artist, Valdy. I had never heard of him before, but I guess he is a fairly prominent folk singer in Canada. And having a bit of an affinity for Canadian music, I decided I would go ahead and give him a shot. How could you go wrong for, I think this was $1.99. I don't think they had any specials on the yellow tags this week, but yeah. Go ahead and give it a shot. Why not? And then I also have another Millennium Collection, but this is by an American band, the Allman Brothers Band. And this is one I may have had before, or I may have had a different greatest hits set by these guys. But yeah, there are a couple of songs that I've really come to enjoy over the last several years, and particularly Whipping Post, and of course Ramblin' Man is a good one too. So yeah, pick that one up. And here's another 2-disc greatest hits set that I found that will now be supplanting the 1-disc set that I have. Judy Collins, and I didn't know this existed. It is Forever, an anthology, and it is a 2-disc anthology of Judy Collins, the classic American folk singer. The track listing is very small, so you probably won't be able to read it, but I'm sure it's got all of her hits. And like with the Al Green, I am going to have to double check the track listings to make sure all the songs from the one disc ones are on this one, that all the tracks that I care about. But yeah, and this one was a red tag, so it was on special. It was $1.99, so it was 99 cents. Very, very nice to have that one. And here's probably the coup de grace from my Goodwill travels, and this will be the end of this video. I found, sitting all four of them right next to each other on the shelf, the Cranberries' first four albums. Yes, everyone else is doing it, so why don't we? Why don't we? And then No Need to Argue. Then we have To the Faithful Departed and Bury the Hatchet. So yes, and seeing these all on the shelf right next to each other, I figured, okay, either the discs are in crappy condition, or they're the wrong discs, or there are no discs in there. And at a Goodwill especially, you find that a lot. St. Vinnie's not so much. St. Vinnie's is better at curating and keeping their CD section nice and tidy. Goodwills, it's kind of a free-for-all. You check the CD cases when you buy CDs at Goodwill. Check them. But to my surprise, these were all not only the CDs that were supposed to be in there, but they were all in perfect condition. So somebody just donated their Cranberries collection and probably some other stuff that I wasn't interested in. And yeah, they were in fantastic shape. So yes, I think I got my money's worth at both Goodwill and St. Vinnie's these last few days. It was so much fun. It was exhausting. I did 5 stores on Tuesday and then another 5 stores on Thursday. Yes, wore myself out, got blisters on my feet, but it sure was fun. I tell you, it's and it's inexpensive fun. You can't beat inexpensive fun. What can I say? And yes, my CD listening backlog is going to suffer. It's the seams are going to burst on my CD listening backlog. But then, hey, I figure I'm taking care of my vinyl backlog with my playlist videos this year. Next year, let's do my a playlist series, printing down my CD listening backlog. How about that? Why don't we? Yeah, at this point, it's like, oh hell, it's already almost unwieldy anyway. Let's go ahead and fill it up with some more CDs. Anyway, this video's gone on long enough. I've been rambling for way too long. So that'll do it for this video. Be sure to like it if you liked it. And before you go, drop me some feedback in the comment section. I'd love to know what you think. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell icon to catch my future videos, hit my username to browse my old videos. Links to my socials and my favorite fellow YouTubers are in the description below. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. And remember, life's too short to be a music snob.